Hey, good evening, everyone. It is 9:03 in the evening here in Southern California, Los Angeles. Welcome. I see I have one person on here. I have other people coming in on YouTube, which I see them signing on. Um, Today's going to be kind of fun. I want to show you guys a little bit about, I want to kind of talk about what hypnosis is. Is it real? Is it really something that's happening? What's interesting is that some of it we understand and some of it we don't understand. Part of hypnosis is going into a relaxed state. So I'll talk first about what we call as theory behind mind, understanding the theory of the mind. Right? We know that there's a conscious and an unconscious pattern in the unconscious mind. We also know there's a filter called the cognitive filter. I'll give you a little history on myself. I've been a clinical hypnotherapist now for 25 years. I have been doing hypnosis I started in the Valley at an office there that we had with a manager that was helping me and coaching me. Then from there, I moved to my garage in Long Beach, and I was practicing there for a while practicing still in Sherman Oaks. Then from there, I went to Bigsby Knolls, and I opened a small office in Long Beach Boulevard with one office in it. Then I moved from there over to Atlantic Avenue in Bigsby Knolls, and I've opened two offices there. Then I moved over to Cerritos, and I had one office over there that was much bigger with much more room. And then I grew from there and moved into another office, which had two offices, one on the third floor, one on the first floor. So I've done the journey of hypnosis, I guess you could say. But I'll tell you one thing that I know for sure is that once hypnosis bites you, you want more. You keep expecting more and doing more and learning more and understanding how the mind operates and what it does. So, my name is Michael Almers. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I've been a clinical hypnotherapist for 25 years or more now. My company is Deeper States Mind and Wellness, and I'd like to talk. Let's dig into this because I know that you've all seen the stage shows, right? You've seen where you're watching a stage show, they boom hypnotize them, they drop into trance, and then they're doing things that you would think they wouldn't want to do. I'll explain what that is and how that's working as well tonight. Um, we know that the theory of mind, we'll go back to it for a moment. The theory of mind has conscious, unconscious, and cognitive behavior filters. So, what happens in hypnosis, the relaxation takes you into a meditative state, right? So, you get into that feeling that you have when you're almost asleep, I guess, where you kind of feel yourself days away and you might hear the TV for a little bit and then you come back in and you're awake again, go back out again. And when you're hearing the sounds or the whatever the TV whatever's on the outside, when you're hearing that going in and it's starting to disappear, what's happening is you're going into REM, rapid eye movement. And what happens, because when you're being hypnotized, the hypnotist doesn't stop talking, right? Does Continues going through dialogue and external dialogue. So the brain is going to go in to REM, it's going to pop back up, and it's going to relax again and go back into REM. Sometimes what happens is that people go into REM 100% and they stay there the whole time that I'm working with them. That being said, remember the unconscious mind never sleeps. It's always active. The unconscious mind is active even when you're sleeping, right? If the fire alarm goes off, you still hear it. Theory of mind is that when we relax you in hypnosis, and then we get the conscious mind to relax and the unconscious mind to relax, that filter steps aside. The filter opens up the unconscious mind to start reprogramming or redirecting what it is that you're expecting to happen with your behavior patterns. So that brings me to, can you be controlled, right? Because if we're removing part of that filter, and the filter is what judges your judgment, right, or makes your judgments for you, can we hypnotize you to do something you don't want to do? And what's interesting is that the unconscious mind works on a belief system. So it understands and knows the belief system of how you were raised. The belief system, and remember, I've talked about this in other videos, that when you are functioning or going through your daily life, you're only in the experience that you know. You don't know any other experience. So your mind is going to make judgments, right? It's going to make corrections based on what the unconscious mind knows, what it's learned or what it's understood. And the unconscious mind is going to set up barriers or boundaries such as fear, pain, exhaustion, and it avoids those processes. It avoids pain. That's why I like to tell a lot of my clients is that, once you get past being comfortable in life, that's when you really start to live. You start to thrive. You're done surviving. You start to thrive and live your life to its fullest. Um, in hypnosis, there's no way to really cause mind control. You can't control somebody's brain. So if a client comes to me for stop smoking and they're not ready to stop smoking, there's no way I'm going to get them to stop smoking. They're not going to go through and they're not going to understand that, oh, I need to quit smoking because my wife wants me to stop smoking. It just doesn't work that way because, see, the unconscious mind has a belief system. And if the belief system isn't ready to become a non smoker, you're not going to be able to change that in this person. So hypnosis works on based on influence, right? And they say that there's criterias in order for anybody to be hypnotized. Those criterias are that you have to be able to focus, you have to be able to relax, you have to be have an IQ just a little bit smarter than a tree. Okay. If there's no way to process what's happening in the brain and you don't have an IQ higher than a tree, then you're not going to be hypnotized. You're not going to be my client, first of all. Second of all, you're just not going to go into trance state. Um, I want to talk to you a little bit about I want to kind of get into that whole process about what science says about it, because science is very interesting. Science used to not medicine used to not even have a mind body connection, right? And as we've gone on and we've evolved, I started doing hypnotherapy my freshman year of high school just by reading a book. And it was interesting because I think back now to what our medical industry was like then, our medical groups were like then. They really didn't think that the brain was causing the body to have ailments, right? That it was not a real illness. But as they kept going on and on and on, finding out that how strong and powerful the mind was, how it actually runs everything through the body into the physiological part and it moves into the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind tells the conscious mind to say, "Oh my God, there's pain in my leg," or "Oh my God, it's danger," or "It's this fear of fight or flight feeling. I got to do something about it." So because our mind is naturally set up like that, the brain is naturally set up like that, it goes through these patterns. So that's what really holds people back, I found, is that if you're stuck in the pattern and you're not being able to change anything around and you're living your life like that and never adjusting to it, your life isn't going to ever change. And a hypnotist or anybody else, a cognitive therapist, and nobody's going to be able to get that change to happen for you unless the unconscious mind is ready for it. And usually, I'm going to tell you what makes change for people: pain is the biggest one, and pleasure. Those two are the two biggest things that make us make change in our life. If you're miserable in something, the pain is strong enough, you'll make a change. If you're or what happens, you don't make a change and that pain becomes pleasure and you start thriving off the pleasure. The key is going to be to keep your mind open, to be able to be flexible, to understand things and to read and to get knowledge before you try to get that mindset to change, right? I mean, I always talk about there has to be some kind of leverage. And really, when you're doing hypnosis, the leverage has to be in a positive direction. So if you're going to become smoke free, what's your life going to look like? How's it going to change? What are the best things that happen to you? What is the best things that happen to you once you become smoke free, or lose weight, or go in and start changing the way that you feel about yourself, and achieving different goals? We have to know, the client has to know what they want. They have to know what changes they want, what they expect. Um, I'm going to read you some stuff right now. So, contrary to popular belief, you can be hypnotized you cannot be hypnotized into doing anything against your will. I talked a little bit about that. You can't be forced into a hypnotic state either. Every time a hypnotist will do hypnosis with you, we ask for permission. We say, is it okay for me to hypnotize you? Or are you ready to go into hypnosis? Is it okay for me to begin to relax you? When I had a office where I was seeing the public and it was one-on-ones and not via Zoom, I would have to reach out, shake their hand, and get that acknowledgement. What I found is the acknowledgement comes either way. If I say, are you ready to go into hypnosis? And they say yes, that's giving the unconscious mind permission to relax and go into the process that we just explained. Um, and they're going to follow a pattern of what it is that you expect them to do. Some people say, well, oh my God, what happens on stage? That's horrible. I don't want that happening to me. The key happens, what's different on stage is that we'll say, hey, if you want to come up on stage, you want to have a really good time, come on up, relax. Let's, maybe you'll even become smoke free tonight, or you might even lose some weight tonight. Well, who doesn't want to do that, right? So the unconscious mind kicks in and says, oh yeah, I want to do that. So that's how volunteers get up on stage. They're already conditioned now to relax and to go into this stage process of being able to let the brain think about what it's like to maybe become a belly dancer, right? They may have never seen it, never, maybe they've never tried to belly dance, but maybe they've experienced belly dancing somewhere before and they watched it. So their brain is going to go in and it's going to start to do what it believes is correct or what it believes is like belly dancing. So it's going to translate what it thinks it needs to do. The brain is very analytical. It We give it commands. It takes a command very analytical. I mean, it will drive you directly in that direction, and it'll stick to analytical process of what it is that you're trying to come up with, whether it's right or wrong. But it will come up with something. I promise you that. Um, so people cannot be hypnotized beyond, without their will and without them actually making a commitment to it. Um, you're voluntary you're voluntarily altering your own unconsciousness or consciousness, and you're always in control. So what I found happens within the last 25 years that I've been doing hypnotherapy and NLP, what I noticed is that when a client gets into trance state, something gets uncomfortable, they pop up, they come out of trance. Or if they feel like, like for instance, I had a client that I was helping with weight loss, and she had some pretty rough times when she was a child, but she had never really gone back and worked on that. On one of the sessions, she popped out of hypnosis in tears and was like, "Oh my God, this and this and this has happened to me when I was a kid, and I remember that." So we desensitized that, closed it off, and then she started releasing weight and letting it go. So she had to give me the okay, and the discovery that happened was ultimately deep inside her unconscious mind. Right, it existed there. It was there because our brain naturally tries to self protect itself. It tries to protect us from, again, pain, right? And it tries to turn it into a pleasure zone. If it can't do that, then it just buries the pain, it shuts it down, it tries to get rid of it, and it still lives in the unconscious mind. It can resurface and does resurface many, many times. So science has started doing a lot of studying on what hypnotherapy is and what hypnosis is, and is it real? Does it really help anybody, or is hypnosis fake? And is it just, I'll tell you that every time I started out doing stage shows. I started out in high school at going to bars and kind of like hypnotizing people not to have hiccups. That's where I started at the very beginning. But then from then I evolved into stage shows, which I love. Stage shows are awesome. You want to see the power of hypnosis? Go to a stage show. I mean, you'll think it's fake, but I'm going to tell you that it's not. The unconscious mind has just, that filter's been removed, and the unconscious mind is going through what it thinks it's going to do to have a good time. Um, but you should definitely check out a stage show. If you're here in Southern California, my friend Mark Music he does the hypnosis stage show in the Orange County Fair. Awesome hypnotist. He is awesome, and I think you guys will really, really enjoy it. Plus, you learn what it's like to watch the process and to kind of really see the power of what it's like when you are in control of your own unconscious mind. Imagine what you can do with that. I mean, if you had no fear, you had no worry, no care, and you knew what your destination was, it makes things much easier, doesn't it? So they've been studying a lot about hypnosis and trying to find out whether it's real, what it's doing. They don't really know what it does to the brain. They finally just now, I'm going to read you an article, piece of an article that came in from um, the cerebral cortex journal, which I've heard of them. I've not read a lot about them, but I believe they're in Harvard. But in a new study published Thursday in the Journal of Cerebral Cortex, Dr. Spiegel, and his colleagues report that they've found a distinctive signature in the brain when a patient has undergone hypnosis. What's more, the changes in the brain's activity give scientific hints about what happens to the mind of a hypnotized subject. The discovery may ultimately lead to new insights about how to make hypnosis even more effective than it already is. Isn't that cool? If you can take the process and you can learn the process even better, and we start understanding how the brain takes a suggestion, we'll be able to enhance that even more. And once we start enhancing that, we can get the brain to start actually functioning and just going after those dreams, those wants, those pleasures, those needs. Fear is the biggest thing that holds us back. And if you can eliminate the fear in the brain and you get the brain to start processing out, I have a client right now. I'm hoping I get some kind of interview with her, a camera interview with her. But she came to me. She had had a very traumatic childhood and had gone through therapy, worked out everything okay. And as she got older, when the pandemic hit, it hit her again. Everything came back up. So she started with OCD. The OCD turned into complete panic attacks, to where she couldn't talk. She would just kind of make noises and close her eyes. And it was so devastating that the husband had to quit going to work and come home to be with her for the last 6 months. And I've had 5 sessions with her, and now she's off the panic attack medication. She's starting to now walk and talk. She just got her driver's license. She's no longer having all of this crap that was going on. But you have to get into the unconscious mind. You have to go in there and like first understand where this all stems from. Um, so in this study, imagine what it'd be like if I could learn new suggestions, or I could learn, okay, well, if I give the suggestion like this, is the brain going to enjoy that more? And is it going to make that change even faster or quicker? Right? So education and hypnosis. I do a lot of exam preparation. I used to do a lot of exam preparation for the California bar and the baby bar, and LSATs, and a lot of people coming from all over the place. And the really cool thing is about when people start doing hypnosis for exam preparation, the biggest thing that I found that any of these people come to me for is that they're afraid of failure, right? So when you take that edge off of it, you make it not such a big deal. It's just another friggin' exam. You've taken exams all your life, and the exams that you've taken, you've always gotten through them. You never died through an exam, right? So if we can just desensitize that and remove some of that emotion, that sensation of fear, and get them to relax and get them to know that they've been doing this all their lives, right? We can get them to go in and just sit down, and we create triggers. I'm a neurolinguistic programmer, so I'll create triggers that when they sit down in the chair, they feel this whole body relaxation, just a sensation of comfort and perfection, that they're in the right place at the right time, and they have all this knowledge. Because remember, they've studied for a long time, right? A lot of people doing the California bar or baby bar will quit their jobs and just do a year or two of complete um, studying. I mean, I had a client that he sold his house, sold his house and sold his car and moved to a boat. And he was living on a boat studying every single day for the last, I think it was a year and a half or something. What I do is I get them to not study so hard, back off of it a little bit, and give yourself these limitations. So it's 1 hour to 2 hours opposed to 8 hours of studying a day. So we're just grabbing the information, we're going through, we're learning it, we're regurgitating it, holding it in, and then we're going to push it back out based on the understanding that you know the knowledge, right? So we can get you to understand that, then you can go ahead and utilize that. It's used a lot in education. I wish I would have known a lot more about hypnosis when I was a kid. And I'll tell you one thing that kind of really irritates me, but I don't know, don't know how there's a way to correct it. So, you know, you have a classroom of say 50 children. Now, I mean, I don't even know. I think now they're like 80 here in LA. I really don't know what the classroom looks like now. I've been there pre-pandemic. But what I did learn was that a lot of people, a lot of students, the teacher doesn't understand how they learn. Like, I'm tactile, I have to touch things. So if I write something out, it ingrains in my unconscious mind. Some people can just see things, right? They're visual. Some others are auditory. Once they hear it, boom, it clicks in their head. But if the teacher could understand how each student operates, they'd be able to help that student much better and get that student to actually be successful in their lives, because now they're going to learn and absorb a lot more. Um, Memory recall is really, really cool. You can use memory recall with hypnosis. I had a client that came in, and she lived with her mother. And this is probably one of the best ones I had. So she even had a lot of this stuff. You got to remember, I've been doing this for 25 years. So she came in, she had gone to Vegas one in the, afternoon, I guess, and gambled until like early mornings of the night. And she won like $3,000 or $4,000. She came home and her mother was asleep, and instead, to hide it, to make it a surprise, she took it and she stuck it in her closet behind a book. And as she stuck it behind the book, she forgot about it. So she came to my office, and I think I had 3 sessions with her, 3 or 4. This is when we used to do sessions like that, when we didn't have, now we're doing a lot more stuff with people that are going through depression, anxiety, deep rooted issues. So now we only do a 10 and 20 session program. But at that time, I think she had 3 sessions with me, or 4 sessions with me, or 5. I think she had 5 actually, because it takes time to get conditioned to go into hypnosis, right? So I got her in trance, and she was like recalling piece by piece. She recalled going to Vegas, she recalled the winning feeling and what it was like, and then she recalled that she thought about trying to stay there, and she thought she just needed to come home, otherwise she was never going to get home on time, and her mom was going to find out she had left to Vegas, and it would piss her off and all this stuff. So it's interesting. So as we move through the hypnosis, I think on like the third or fourth session, she remembered that it was behind a book. Now, didn't remember where, but remember it was behind a book and remembered what book it was. Isn't that cool? She remembered exactly what book that was. So she, I think on our fifth session, she finally was like, you know what? It's behind that book. I got to find the book. So she started going everywhere. She found the book on her closet upstairs, above the closet. She found the book. Behind the book was Older Mother. So it was kind of cool. It was very, very cool. The mind remembers everything. It might try to bury it, right? It might try to hide it or keep it suppressed, um, because it forgets things. It's the unconscious mind is like a giant computer. And if there's a blimp, or she was exhausted, so the little blimp caused her not to remember where she had put it. So the memory recall came back in. It still existed in her unconscious mind, just like a person that's gone through tragedy in their childhood, right? If they've been molested, or they've gone through anything that was just maybe a horrible car accident, that lives in the unconscious mind. We don't know how it surfaces. It will surface at some point because it penetrates into the conscious and starts making us make decisions based on that. So if you see a horrible car accident, you might kind of go up to a stoplight and kind of flinch a little, or stop a little and be like, oh, that was weird. It felt a little uneasy. You might not know why, but the unconscious mind is still bringing in that process. It's pushing it through. Um, so that's how memory recall works with hypnosis. It's pretty cool stuff. Um, can you guys think of anything? I can see that Sequita's here. How are you, Sequita? Welcome to the show. I finally found a way how to tell who's at least on my lives on the Facebook. I can't tell who's in my lives on YouTube, and YouTube is my popular place. And to be really honest with you, YouTube is a place where we're looking to grow, because they have a lot of monetization and all the other stuff. So I'll be really honest with you that's really where I'm putting a lot of my energy and effort right now. I love you guys here on Facebook. I just get like one or two or three of you guys, and that's okay. That's cool, because you know what? There's the thing that has to happen in everybody's life in this world and be so different is that if you just showed up, you did your best, and you would go further than you ever have before. Show up, do your best, and repeat that. Show up, do your best, and repeat that. That's the way you get bigger and better, and that's how people begin to like know that you are a person that they can trust, a person that they can go to, a person that they can say, oh, you know what, I need help with this. But it takes time, right? And I show up. I don't care if I have one person. And Sequita, thank you for being here. I love you. I haven't seen you in forever, but thank you. And the other people that are here, we should really kind of, the people coming into YouTube, I love you guys. I will see you guys over in YouTube. I'll answer your questions on YouTube when I get back over to YouTube. I'm streaming from Facebook, so this is my origination, and it's going into the other locations. Shaquita, I'm going to ask you this question, and you can answer it if you want. I think you can actually answer in the chat, and I'll see it. I can bring you in the stream if you wanted to come in the stream even. So this is kind of cool. It's a really cool platform. But have you, or can you think of something that you could overcome or improve in your life by using hypnosis? What do you think you could do? What could you make better? Answer that question for me if you want, Sequita, and I'll kind of work with you a little bit. That's kind of cool, because I think it's people have to know and understand what they want, right? If we don't know what we want, it makes it very, very hard to be able to have goals and to accomplish those goals. If once we know what we're wanting, or we know where our destination is, right, we can start working and heading towards those directions, and knowing and understand that as those directions come towards us, you're gonna be much, you can deal with the stuff along the way much easier. I'm not seeing anything coming in. I do see people on YouTube, you guys. I'm going to put the banner up, and if you guys haven't done this, do this, so that if you go into deeperstate.com, that's not it. Give me one sec, guys. Here we go. So if you go into if you go to Facebook and go just on your browser up on top, type in StreamYard.com/Facebook, and that'll give you the authorization for you to be able to post through StreamYard onto Facebook, and then I can see your comments. And I'll come back. If I see you, Sequita, and you post something in the comments, I will see that. Otherwise, I'm going to move forward. Do you think that you've ever been hypnotized? And we'll get back to that in a little bit. I want to show you a video real quick. The video is kind of just a collage of things that I've done. It's going to show you me doing a stage show. It's going to show one of my friends, I'm not going to give you his name because I just don't feel comfortable doing that. But he's a very well-known hypnotist. He works out of Canada, and he did a demo in a bar that we were at during one of our conferences, and you'll see him do what we call a rapid induction. It's called a palm press induction, where the person is pushing down on his palm, and when he releases it, he causes him to go into trance state. So anytime there's an abrupt pattern interrupt on the brain, it causes you to go into hypnosis. Okay, so sit back, you guys, enjoy this for a minute. It's short video, but it's going to show you kind of just highlights of stuff. We know that it works with weight loss. I'm like the perfect example of that. I went from 230, 235, and now I'm at like 172, 173, somewhere in there. My ideal goal is 170, but my doctor's telling me I shouldn't go to 170 because that's not really a good place for me to be. And because I guess I'm supposed to be like 175 to 180. So I think I'm going to hit the 170 though. So anyway, sit back, relax, you guys. We know it works really well for stop smoking too. I mean, that's something that most of the general public does accept. But have a seat, sit back, watch this video, and then we'll be right back. Done this for 25 years. So for me, it's very real. It's changed my life. It's helped me achieve my goals. I think there's not a lot I haven't reached for and a lot that I haven't been able to attain. And I believe that that's in each and every one of you as well. Think about you being hypnotized because you're hypnotized all the time, right? Secret is that everything's hypnosis. Everything is hypnosis. Hypnosis is everything comes in our brain through our visual, through our auditory, through our senses, right? The difference is whether your unconscious mind remembers it, believes it, and holds on to it. And that's all based upon your moral belief system. Morals are great, but if morals are keeping you from being too rich, they kind of suck. If morals are keeping you from being happy and love, they kind of suck. So the key element is that we have to be able to find where the core of negativity started for you. So maybe you had parents that didn't maybe you had parents that weren't together for that much, or there was maybe abusive relationships, or maybe they just couldn't get the relationship to work properly, and that's okay, right? But you've experienced that. You've learned that is the way it's supposed to be, and your unconscious mind grabs onto it and holds it. Each one of you know exactly where you need to be. You know where you want to go, and I don't think that we have been put on this earth to not reach our goals, to live a mediocre life. We're not here to live a mediocre life. We're here to not just survive. We're here to thrive. And the only way you're going to do that is to get rid of the shit that we carry in our unconscious mind, right? Get rid of that stuff that we keep hanging on to that's not valuable to us. I hope you guys enjoyed this tonight, and I hope that you were able to kind of get a little bit of an understanding more of what hypnosis is and is it real. And my answer to that is, you know what? It's very real. If you allow it to be real, right? It's if you allow the unconscious mind to make changes, it will, based on pleasure points. But if you don't give it that moment, that time for it to go in and to feel that sensation of pleasure, it's always going to have fear. We live in states of fear all the time. It's so important to not do that anymore. It's important to find what it is that makes your passion. What is your why, right? It's all about what is your why. Once you know your why, it makes it much easier for you to be able to utilize your why by creating leverage to achieve the why, right? And pleasure and happiness comes from all of that. Each and every one of you who are watching this right now, you have a right to be happy. You have a right to live life to its fullest, to enjoy your dreams. And it's a pattern. It's a beginning to an end. And one thing I tell my clients, I mean, I look at their age before I analyze them. If they're telling me, oh, I want to quit my job and become a doctor, and they're already 60 years old, that's probably not going to happen. And I'm not going to advise them of that. I'm going to say, let's look at this and see if this is really feasible for you. And if it is, hey, good for them. I mean, maybe they could be a 65-year-old doctor that's starting his career. I'm not gonna bash on that, but I think it's real important to be able to have perspective on what you want, and also make sure that the perspective is within the hard work you want to put into it. Because if you're not going to put in the work, you're not going to get any changes, right? You can do that all your life. You can work hard and do your best and struggle and strive, but if you're not 100%, I was just talking to a friend of mine today, it's like, I believe in my life and in the world we all live in, especially young people right now. If you're listening to this, man, go out there, bust your ass, show up every day, do the best you can, and then do it again. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to be able to either take that knowledge and build upon yourself and do your own thing, right? Or you're going to be able to move up within that company, or you're going to be able to at least have some respect for the people that work for you and that work with you, and have respect from them to you as well. So it's really important. I mean, if I can give you guys one thing, is that, do it over and over again, show up, do your best, have a good time at it, and do it again. Anyway, you guys, I appreciate everything. Sequita, it was good to see you. I hope to see you soon. And anybody else, YouTube people, I will answer your questions because you guys leave a lot over there. I will answer your questions privately. Have a great night, you guys. It's for 9:35, so we went 5 minutes over. I will do these every Friday, 9 p.m. Come join me. Sequita, hopefully next time you can come on stage with me and ask some questions I can hopefully answer. If I can't answer them, then we'll end the show. Anyway, I love you guys. You guys take care. Have a great night and enjoy yourselves. Have an awesome weekend. Go out there, make the weekend special for somebody else, not just for yourself. All right. Thanks, you guys.
I think these videos are brilliant, and I'm sure you will like them too. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell.